The Queen usually hosts the Prime Minister for a weekend at Balmoral Castle during her summer holidays. Last year, due to the coronavirus pandemic and the strict regulations in place, the Prime Minister did not travel north of the border to see Her Majesty. This summer, however, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson are expected to be hosted by the Queen according to tradition. But one royal source has claimed courtiers would prefer this visit didn't go ahead to shield the Queen from the risk of catching COVID-19. They told the Daily Mail, "The visit is still due to go ahead but, frankly, we'd rather it wasn't." The newspaper's diary editor Richard Eden, who reported the claim, added Mr. and Mrs. Johnson will be asked to avoid meeting other people in the days leading up to the trip to Balmoral, if it is confirmed. They will also be asked to take COVID tests, he added. Asked to comment, Buckingham Palace directed the question to Downing Street, adding the palace doesn't tend to comment on issues regarding Balmoral Castle as it is the Queen's private estate. Express.co.uk has contacted Downing Street for comment. The Queen has received both doses of the vaccine against COVID-19. Buckingham Palace announced on January 9 both Her Majesty and her husband Prince Philip had been given the first dose of the vaccine. The extraordinary decision to issue a statement on a private medical matter was taken by the Queen, a palace source said at the time. They said, to prevent inaccuracies and further speculation, Her Majesty decided that she would let it be known she has had the vaccination. The jabs had been administered by a household doctor at Windsor Castle, where the elderly royals were spending the third national lockdown together. The palace did not issue a statement to reveal when the sovereign received the second dose. Following her visit to the CWGC's Runnymede Air Forces Memorial to mark the centenary of the RAF at the end of March, it emerged she had already been double jabbed. Throughout the coronavirus pandemic, the Queen has continued to carry out her daily duties and royal engagements while adapting to the crisis. At the height of the lockdowns in England, while abiding by the stay-at-home order issued by Mr. Johnson, the sovereign embraced technology and found ways to still virtually meet diplomats, charity leaders and organizations. Among the duties she started undertaking remotely, there had been also her weekly meetings with Mr. Johnson. In March 2020, the Queen was photographed speaking on the phone with the Prime Minister. The pair continued to have phone meetings for 15 months, until late June. On June 23, Buckingham Palace released a picture showing the Queen during her first in-person weekly audience with Mr. Johnson held at her London residence since the beginning of the pandemic. A few days later, the Queen also had the chance to meet in person First Minister Nicola Sturgeon during her yearly tour of Scotland, known as Royal Week. The Queen arrived in Scotland on July 23 but took residence at Balmoral Castle only in August, after her residence was closed to tourists. On August 9, a ceremony welcoming the Queen was hosted outside the castle. During the event, the Queen inspected a Guard of Honour formed of 5 Scots, Balaclava Company, the Royal Regiment of Scotland, and met once again the regiment's mascot, a Shetland pony named Lance Corporal Cruachan IV. Related articles: Prince Philip wouldn't want Queen to follow habit of Victoria. Kate Middleton wears bright colours so people can see her. Brexit Live. Boris to unveil Queen as key part of new plans for COP26.